So, Black Power Family, welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot, and I am definitely honored and privileged every time we can get this amazing goddess in here with some healing, with some love, with some motivation and some inspiration. We call her on her knot in showing our Black Future series because I was like, the goddess do so much, okay? I need to take a little time to highlight everything that she does, and we're going to try to get everything that she does in this time frame that we got her. So, without any further ado, it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others, and welcome to the Black Business Spotlight. Don't it sound good? It's like Black Business Spotlight. You understand? Royalty, a healer, a teacher, a coach, a motivator, one who keeps us accountable, and one who is striving to rid us of generational curses on a multitude of levels. The Triller Healer, Divinity. God is in the building.
Peace, peace, and eternal blessings to everyone who is listening to this right now and to everyone who will listen to this in the future. I'm so grateful to be here. Um, tell you, like running multiple businesses has been it's been a challenge, but it has been so amazing. Like I honestly can't even sit here and complain because it's allowed me to live my life in a way to where I do what I want when I want. And if I don't want to do it, it ain't getting done. So that is what being an entrepreneur and having several businesses has allowed me to do. And of course, I get on here the third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and talk about life insurance because that is my main um, passion right there. Making sure that we leave a legacy of wealth behind and not a legacy of debt because it's time to break that cycle. Like it's well past time for us to break that cycle and for us to start leaving our future generations a lot better off than what generations have been. So that's the main thing that I get on here and talk about. But the other businesses that I have, I am a mobile notary out here in Clark County, Nevada. So that allows me to travel around to all over the city between North Las Vegas, regular Las Vegas, Boulder City, Laughlin, and Mesquite to assist people with their notary needs. And I always tell people, make sure you lock my number in because you never know when you're going to need a notary until you need a notary. So I have been able to manage to secure one facility. It's a funeral home that they exclusively call on me first. And if I'm not available, then they'll go elsewhere. But again, being my own boss, having my own businesses allows me the flexibility to adjust my schedule as needed. So I'm pretty much, unless I'm out of town, I'm available. I'm going to get them dollars by any means necessary.
That's right. I wanted to interject for a second because we met along the way just in the hustle and bustle. I know that you're a veteran like myself, a retiree. Let me get the language correct. You understand? Retiree. That's a different class than just a veteran. Um, how did you make the shift in the transition? And was entrepreneurship something that you sought while you were still in the service, or how did you make that shift?
Actually, was like my last 4 years, the job that I had so much freedom in that job that I was like, I can't see myself really, doing another 20, 30 years for somebody else's company. So that was already in the forefront of my mind. But of course, when I retired, I had to get out here and I worked a couple of civilian jobs before I became an entrepreneur. Because I had to get out here and get myself situated, making sure my retirement checks were coming in, getting my disability situated, getting my housing situation situated. And one of the things that I would definitely tell people, if they're on active duty right now, like stack as much money as possible so that when you depart the military, if entrepreneurship is what you're thinking about, you're so far ahead of the game because you have enough money set aside to live off of and to fund your dreams. And it's possible. One of the things that's absolutely missing is financial literacy. Like that stuff is just not being taught enough across the board in any sector for people to be able to have the means that they need to get out here to be an entrepreneur. That's why so many people are scared to do it because they're so comfortable punching a clock with a guaranteed paycheck. Like, I know I get paid on the 1st and 15th, or I know I get paid every single Friday or every other Friday. They base their lives around that. So being an entrepreneur, it's like if you don't grind, you don't eat, period. Like there ain't no in between unless you do have the luxury of having additional sources of income coming in from like a retirement check or disability or whatever the case may be. um so yes, I did know, like I knew that I needed to be an entrepreneur, and it really manifested itself in the last two jobs that I had. It was really showing, the universe was waking me up and showing me like, yo, you need to be out here doing this on your own. You don't need to work for anybody else because it doesn't fit my personality, it doesn't fit my lifestyle, it doesn't fit my mental health parameters. It don't fit none of that for me to have to punch a clock and deal with the shit that you know regular people have to deal with. So that shit, that's not my life no more. You know what I mean? I did that shit for 20 years of fucking having somebody tell me what to do, when I could and couldn't take off, and when I could and could, all of I'm past that. Like I did that. I got the shirt. Like I literally got the paycheck for it. I accomplished that goal. You know what I mean? So now it's really about me doing what I want. And people still try to offer me different business opportunities. And I have tried a couple of other things outside of the four businesses that I do have now. But I look at it this way, like if it's going to interrupt my peace, if it's going to make me have to do any more than what I'm already doing, I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't care how great of an opportunity it is, because the two things that are taking up the most of my time is healing and life insurance. So, like making jewelry, I can schedule that in at any time. Doing notaries, I don't get enough calls for that to be too much of an issue, so I can always schedule that around anything that I have going on. But healing and life insurance, if it's going to interfere with either one of those, I can't do it because I'm being called for a higher purpose right now. And those are my two higher purposes: educating people on life insurance, financial literacy, generational wealth, and helping people heal, throughout the entire spectrum of their physical being that they are right now. Like I'm being called to that. And so if it's going to disrupt any of that, it's not worth my time. And people think money is everything. Money isn't, because you have people out here that are wealthy as I don't know what, but they're depressed, they're miserable, they're unhealthy, they're suicidal, or they've committed suicide. So money isn't everything. Peace of mind is everything. And nothing is worth my peace of mind.
Shame. I remember those transition classes. In those transition classes, they don't prepare your imagination. So I was fortunate enough in the army leaving out to link up with a brother who was a millionaire. He
Mm,
was a PhD. He came and he taught the mind frame of the transition along with the entrepreneurial mindset. So
mhm,
he was teaching us the transition, because it's a transition for the rest of the, you know what I mean?
mhm,
So he was teaching us the other things that went along with it. And he was showing us the job market. He was showing us, how to be the CEO of your own career. So if you wanted to go work a job, he had mastermind a way for you to go work that job. So you weren't there like you went from one uniform to another, like many of us do, or whatever the case may be. So he educated your mind and prepared your imagination for transition. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, okay, what's some stuff I wish somebody would have told me? You know what I'm saying? Prior to leaving the military. So I have a whole program in my head. I got to write it out. You see what I'm saying? Like they have books and stuff like that. Like especially with people that are transitioning and they're not retiring. One for those who are just getting out, and
Mm-hmm.
others for those who are retiring, because there's two shifts in thought right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they both need attention. You see what I'm saying? So you know, just looking at that, and I had time to acclimate to civilian life while I was still in the uniform with civilians who were going and doing other things. They were doing network marketing, they were doing job shadows and all this other stuff. And with him being there, you go into these places, he's like, yo, I hope y'all nobody got excited about that. You understand what I'm saying? So like, so somebody there, like, did you get a chance to see? All right, I wanted to see who was paying attention. Did we read the room? Who was in charge? Who was the decision makers? And who was, the ones at their beck and call? So now you're going into a situation like, okay, based on where someone is sitting, based on where someone is sitting and how people are responding to them, you can identify who's a decision maker versus who's just in there. If
Mm-hmm.
you're in there and you're interviewing with more than one person, how to read the room and how to make that work in your advantage. Being there early, going in the driving, looking at the culture of where you're supposed to go if this is what you're going to do. So you're not just there. You see what I'm saying? So, I spent time learning that, and then, taking some risks and, seeing what it meant before I was thrusted out there. Ain't no 15s out here. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no 15s. It's just the first. If you're lucky, you understand what I'm saying? So, like, your mind frame is there. Like, what kind of labor are you gonna have to go through in order to get that together? So, just one of those things that are there. But also educating yourself in regards to that shift in your mind frame of going from interdependent to self sufficient. That's another thing. You could get a guy or a girl in the service that's been in the service 25, 30 years, ain't never grow up. We serve with them, you know? They're accustomed to everybody doing everything for them. So it's time for them to leave. It's a culture shock. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
you wore on your chest or on your arm don't mean nothing out there. Like, nobody cares about you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so they say thank you for your service. They might as well say F you for your service in most of these places. They're looking to use you as a prop and a tool. So it's like, oh, veterans, oh, veteran friendly colleges, veteran friendly employers, things like that to lure you in, so it make it look like they're acclimated to who you are. They got no clue on what you did in most cases, and you don't have the language, you know, outside of the jargon to try to articulate something. How do you articulate war to somebody who ain't been in it? You see what I'm saying? So these experiences that you find yourself, that we see as nothing to the world, it look like everything else. So you're going against someone who has never left that environment that they're in. So if you spent 20 years in the military, they spent 20 years in the civilian sector, going, moving, excelling, advancing in the civilian world, and you going up with a similar skill set, but you got liabilities that come along with you. So, there's aspects in that, and, things you need to go to and where what you offer on two sides can help. You know what I'm saying? Post traumatic stress, family stress, all of these things that are happening, and then in the event, these health problems and issues, you know, SGLI, VGLI, whatever the case may be, ain't enough. You got them on both, and that can relate to them that's been in the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that they can expose to you that they couldn't expose to their therapist or their maybe their peer to peer counselor if they're coming from the actual peer group and they didn't just go get some certificate and be like, oh yeah, I'm passionate about helping those who served and they ain't never served. You see what I'm saying? So that experience right there is layered, and you definitely have the skill set, the know how, the background, and that understanding to be able to know what comes along with that process too, and how to unpack that process. Because you arrived at this situation as your own patient zero. You see what I'm saying? So I had to do my shadow work. I had to get over my shit in order to get out here and do what I needed to do. So that's why I wanted to kind of highlight that experience, and then move into the entrepreneurial space. What are some of the things that you learned about yourself along that way in growing as an entrepreneur, going into these entrepreneurial ventures that you can share with us?
Listen, I learned that this life is not for everybody. We always see people on the internet preaching, you should start a business, you should do that. Everybody's not cut out for this. Like literally, everybody is not cut out to be an entrepreneur, because if everybody became an entrepreneur, who the hell gonna work at these businesses? If you have a business, if you have a providing a service in like a trucking company, are you gonna drive all the trucks? No, you have to have employees. Everybody's not cut out to be an entrepreneur. And it really takes a certain mindset and drive to realize that it's all on you. Like I said earlier, if you don't grind, you don't eat, period. So for me, it forced me to really hold myself more accountable on what I was and wasn't doing and how productive or unproductive I was being. So I know if I grind my ass off for a certain amount of time, I know I can take a couple of days or a week to fuck off, and it ain't no big deal because I've set myself up to be able to do that. So and just learning how to manage my finances, these books with taxes, like it's been a lot to learn, but it's definitely been worth it. And so I've learned to make sure that I have the proper people in my corner that can, that a great tax person, a great mentor. Those things are super important. Like you can't get out here and make it on your own. Like nobody is really self-made. Everybody has leaned on somebody, got some knowledge from somebody else and applied that shit to them. Like nobody just woke up one day and they was just the complete shit. Like I don't need nobody for nothing. I know all the answers. Bam, here I am. I'm a millionaire. I'm out here grinding and I did it all on my own. No, you learn some shit from somebody along the way. You know what I mean? Like you got the hustle, you got the mentality, but you learned some valuable information. You were guided along the way. Somebody showed you some things that you were able to tweak and utilize for yourself. And I pay attention to a lot of things. And so now, like I said, for me, I've learned how to protect my peace and not to do things that don't resonate fully with my spirit. So that's what being an entrepreneur has taught me, because if I work for somebody else, I have to do shit that might not resonate with my spirit because that's what's in my job description to do. You know what I mean? But I have the ability to have an executive conversation with myself and be like, nah, fam, we're not doing this. Like this ain't it for us. And I'm okay with that. Again, like it's not about the money for me. It's about my peace of mind, my mental health, my spiritual health, like my spiritual well-being. Is my aura being protected? Is my energy being protected? My peace of mind being protected? That's the shit that's important to me. So that's what being, this entrepreneurial journey has taught me, and combining that, weaving that into my spiritual journey and making sure that everything is properly balanced. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people will sacrifice their entire health for the grind. They'll grind themselves into the ground just to try to make it, but you're killing yourself in the process. Like, what good is it for you to destroy your health while you're trying to make all this money that you might not be around to spend because you've literally worked yourself to death? Not doing that either. Like we have to stop glorifying all the wrong shit when it comes to being an entrepreneur. You gotta grind your ass off. You gotta, make all these unrealistic sacrifices and you gotta put everybody's shit to the no, you don't. Find some balance in this shit. Find some balance, find some happiness, find some peace. Because what the fuck are you really doing it for? If you're doing it for the money, money gonna come and go all the time. What are you really doing it for? What is the real purpose of why you're being an entrepreneur? What is your legacy going to be? Oh, he was a millionaire, but he died at 40 because he worked himself to death. Okay, that's not a good legacy. Like a good legacy is you being around long enough to share the gems and jewels that you learned and to find balance and peace in your life, to live a long, prosperous life, however long that's meant to be. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. That's the beauty of finding balance in your life. That's the beauty part. That's the beautiful part to me.
Suffering stops with you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the other part that you impart to us every third Thursday. That the suffering stops with you. If you were left with nothing, why would you leave nothing behind?
Make
You
it
know,
make
if you
sense?
were left with nothing, if you had to try to figure it out, if you had to scrape and scramble and all that, why would you want that for somebody you said you love after
Absolutely.
you?
Make it make sense.
You know, so yeah. So now the spiritual path. I want to ask about the spiritual path, and then I want to ask about the books. You know what I'm saying? I want to, you know, kind of weave everything together. You see what I'm saying?
So
What on this particular path?
I just happen to have the books right here.
Ooh, let me see the books. Look at.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes,
So what
yes.
do you have about
Maybe you can
that?
weave them two together, the spiritual journey and the books. You know, writing and what was that for you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, everything's a work in progress. I got some stuff on the horizon.
Okay. So how did you come to healing? How was the healer born?
Oh man. So um earlier last year, my daughter, um, yeah, my daughter ended up going to this event that they had on campus, and they had a Reiki booth there, and they were giving out cards like, "Hey, if you know any veterans, we do a free session on Fridays for veterans. All they have to do is come, schedule an appointment, say they're a veteran, show their ID card, and they can get a free session." So my daughter was like, "Mom, I think you would like this." So I went to the place out here and I had a session done, and I was just like blown away at how much different I felt energy wise after my Reiki session. And so then I started looking more into what Reiki was. And it just so happened that I was doing some stuff through the VA for my physical therapy and all of this stuff. And they had some recreational therapy classes that they were offering. And I saw that they were offering Reiki courses teaching people how to do Reiki. And I was like, man, how do I get signed up for this? So I ended up my doctor got me signed up for the Reiki courses, and that was a wrap. Like that was a wrap. So that's what got me started. And the more I started learning about Reiki, as soon as I touched my first Reiki class, I started getting connected with so many different people on Facebook that were healers and into this stuff. And so I just started in all the different groups. So I started joining all of these groups, connecting with different people on the internet, asking questions, and linking up with some really amazing spiritual people thanks to Facebook. And my life has never been the same. Like it, Reiki helped me to defeat my depression. Like Reiki helped me to manage my panic attacks and my anxiety. And I'm like, man, if this can do this for me, I know it can do it for other people. And like I said, it just grew from there. And then I got more into meditating and more into crystals, and just everything just started gravitating towards me, and I just embraced it.
And that's powerful right there. That is a crazy story. Not literally crazy, but you know what I mean. You see what I'm saying? Like the universe really pulled all of this together in a way that was palatable for you. Was like,
Mhm.
oh, let's say her daughter had her love. She said, Ma, you understand? Ma sent Ma after you and was like, oh, you should check this out. Oh, veteran. You understand what I'm saying? Like putting it together. Like, all right, you go check it out. You still like, whatever. This might be some gimmick ish. You know, I feel good, but what's the catch? You see what I'm saying? So you going through that, and then you, you know, it fall in your lap at the VA. That is wow. You
I,
understand what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm about to move to Vegas, man. That's what's going on in Vegas. It ain't happening where I'm at. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't no Reiki going on out here. Oh snap! So that's powerful right there.
before, like when I was going through like the initial training certification, um, people just started randomly coming up to me like, there's something about you, or your energy is this and that. And there was a couple of people who actually already thought I was a Reiki master, even though I had just started learning about Reiki. I was like, well, let me just
Mm.
keep on doing what I'm doing, and because clearly this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. And it's so crazy because
That's
yeah,
what's up.
I ended up doing Reiki on two pit bulls, so that was pretty daggone awesome.
I don't even think we even put that together. Like that. Like, we teach and we right. We talk about you know, but we don't really connect that. We're personages and generations and family in the same way we do, but they do. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, like, and you got to tap into that. You know, that interconnectedness that is shared universally.
Yep.
That's interesting too. So now, what about writing? Was writing something that was therapeutic? Was that like a place for
Writing,
you to
oh my
kind
God,
of?
writing has always been a way for me to deal with my feelings, my emotions. It's always been a way for me to get out what was inside of me that needed to make its way to some paper. So, and I've been writing poetry since I was in the eighth grade. And that allowed me, like my aunt encouraged me when I was in high school to start keeping my poetry, because she was like, you need to put this in a book. And so that was in um, 93. I didn't publish my first book until 2007. I'm a firm believer in everything happens when it's supposed to happen. 2007 hit. I met somebody that was like, let me show you how to self publish, because I had reached out to a couple of publishing companies prior to that and got turned down or whatever. And so I met another military member who had just self published his first book through a company, and he gave me all the information, told me what to do. Boom. 2007, I published my first book. And now, ever since then, I've been telling other people how to get out here and publish their stuff. So, writing, I'm working, like I said, I got some stuff in the works. So, just be on the lookout for stuff to come in 2021. When I get everything more firmed up, I'll be making announcements here and there about what is to come. But I got some stuff coming.
That's what's up right there. That's what's up. That's good to see right there. You see everything. You got to give life to every story because every story is interconnected, but it deals in the realm of spirit. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm loving the spotlight. because it's a walkthrough, many of your experiences, and then even saying them out loud, you'd be like, "Damn, like, oh, okay, yeah." You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's what's up. So now, how did you become a notary? And what was that process like for you to get involved?
Um, so my daughter's father, him and my husband kept talking about being a notary, and I was like, and I looked into it. I was like, oh, that's fairly easy enough to do. So at the last civilian job that I had, that's when they first hired me. It was around this time of year, and they were super super slow. So I was just sitting there at work, like, man, I don't have nothing to do. And then it hit me, go on and get your notary certification. So I was sitting there on their computer, just doing the little lessons that I needed to pass to get the certification, and got my stamp and learned what everything about what notaries do, and just been doing that since 2016. So that, I incorporated that into a business, turned that into a mobile notary business. So that's that was my first official business. Then came the life insurance. Then came the skincare and jewelry, and then came the healing.
I was saving life insurance for last. You know what I'm saying? I know that got to be a serious story right there. So I'm trying to weave it in. So we might well go there since you talked about it already.
So
What was that path like?
I got started doing it because another veteran friend of mine, she started hitting me up about, do you, after I retired, like, hey, do you have life insurance? And I hadn't even thought about it since I retired. Because while we're on active duty, we have SGLI, and then you have the option of getting VGLI, but I declined it. Um, and so she was like, well, you need to make sure you have life insurance, because if something happens to you, your daughter could be taken care of. And so I was like, okay, cool. And she was like, well, have you ever thought about selling insurance? And I was like, well, no. So we started talking about it. And then it just started, like, things just started clicking, because after we started talking about it, I would be driving around Vegas, and I would see people standing on the corner asking for donations to pay for a funeral. I would see people holding up signs. And then I started seeing all the GoFundMe's popping up on Facebook and stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy that people are having to do this because they don't have life insurance. And so, I started off with one company just selling their actual product. And then there was a lady that we had a lot of mutual friends on Facebook, and she was seeing me posting about life insurance. And she was like, hey, you should come meet with my mentor, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up getting fired from the civilian job that I had, because at the time I had purple locks and I have like a plethora of tattoos. So they was like not feeling that whole combination. Um, so they tried to use a different excuse on why they fired me, but it was a small facility, and one of the other black women, well, two of the other black women in there was like, hey, the manager got in for you because your hair is purple and you got all of them tattoos. So I was like, okay. So when she fired me, it wasn't really a big deal. Um, but my contract that I had for the life insurance company that I was with at the time was 25%. And after that, I was like, well, maybe I'll go ahead and meet with this man and see what he's talking about. And he was like, well, with us, we'll start you at 70%. I was like, shit, say less. Tell me where I need to sign, like 70% or 25%. Like, shit, I can do quick math like this. Your company sounds like it. And I'm telling you, like, it just took off for me from there. Once I left that company selling one product and became an actual broker with multiple products, being able to help multiple people, I'm 4 years in the game now. And I've not had to look back. So that's
So what was the shift like going from fresh in, low level, or what? I don't know how the promotion system works, but then becoming an agent and then going from agent to broker. What was that process like for you?
signing some paperwork and telling the other company, I don't want to work with y'all no more. It was that easy.
So now dealing with those personalities, because when we dealing with anything, we dealing with them personalities. How adaptable did you have to become? Working with a team of agents as a broker.
Yeah, military prepared me for that already. So I got in where I fit in, and like I said, I haven't had to look back since.
That's what's up right there. That is what's up. And what are some takeaways from that?
So yeah, some takeaways from what part?
From that experience, going into, life insurance, things like that. You always discuss the things that you've seen and, how it motivated. So, like, what are some things you took away from that experience and in regards to learning about yourself in that particular way?
It taught me how to create for my family. And so now I make it a point to continuously talk about it with anybody and everybody who's willing to listen because I see the importance of it. And it forced me to make sure that I had all the stuff that I needed in place to make sure that my mini human will be okay when something happens to me. And it's like I said, it's taught me to teach others like this is the game, this is the blueprint, this is what we need to do, this is how we need to be moving. Let's make sure everybody has life insurance in place. Let's make sure everybody's paying these premiums, every single month. Um, I pay close to $1,000 a month for life insurance policies for 9 different policies for 7 different people. So it's very important to me, and it becoming coming into the industry showed me what I needed to do to make sure that my family would be okay for generations to come.
That's what I'm talking about. See, we was inside like the 30 to 40 minute window, and we got some serious game and some journey and some love and some all of that. You understand? All of that. So, if you had some advice for an entrepreneur that's out there, or like a moonlighting entrepreneur that's on the fence, and they think in their mind they don't have the will to what to do what it takes to fully commit. What would you say to them?
Bet on yourself, invest in yourself every single time because you have everything that you need to get out here and make it happen for you. But if you straddle the fence, you're never going to fully commit, so you'll never know what you can possibly do if you don't take the risk. Life is all about the risk. So again, bet on you every single time, and you won't go wrong. Because you're either gonna learn that this ain't for you, or you're gonna get out here and make some phenomenal moves and look back like, damn, I'm glad I did this shit. Because that's where I'm at in my life. It's like, damn, I'm glad I did this shit. You know what I mean? Like it can only go up from here. As long as I continue to grind and do what I'm doing, the universe is going to continue to bless me and see that I have everything that I want and need and more. So that's my takeaway from that.
That's what I'm talking about. So the last thing I'm gonna ask you out is one of my favorite subjects when it comes to you, and when it comes to many of us who out here in these trenches grinding, self care and balance. How important is self care and balance for Divinity Goddess?
It's so important for me that, like I told you, I'll shut down all my shops for a whole week just to make sure I'm taking care of me. I schedule me some me time in. I schedule my massages in. I make sure I have time to meditate. I make sure that if I want to just fuck off of work and go hiking, that's what I'm gonna do. If spirit is telling me to get my ass up in the mountains and go sit the fuck down and relax, that's what I'm gonna do. Because I guarantee you, if you work at a job and all you're concerned about is that job, when your ass die, they're gonna have a help wanted sign or an ad in the paper to replace you no quicker than they can get your ass in the ground. So you got to be your first priority always. You got to take great care of you always and in all ways. So that means you need to schedule in some me time. You need to call out if you have a 9 to 5 job and you punching the clock for somebody else. You got to make sure that you are taking care of you, because at the end of the day, you are all you have. Nobody else is going to take care of you better than you. Nobody else is going to make sure that you eat. Nobody else is going to make sure that your bills is paid but you. So take care of you. Make sure that you're running at all your optimal levels. Get your rest. Take your me time. Go fuck off. Go do something that you really love to do, whether it's watch a movie or go fishing or take a walk. Do things for you all the time to help you remain balanced, because I guarantee you, motherfuckers around you don't give a fuck about your well-being. You got to give a fuck about your well-being, because they will grind your ass into the ground and they won't give two shits about how it's affecting you. You got to do that for self and make sure, like I said, Divinity Goddess, she gonna do it for herself. She gonna shut down. She gonna turn the phone off. She gonna go into the mountains where you can't reach her because ain't no signal. She gonna do it all for self, because I've learned that I can get burnt out if I don't. So I got to make sure that I keep me my number one priority all the time.
I love it. Final message before we wrap it up. Let people know where to find you, how to book you, distance, in person, whatever the case may be, for all of them skillets that you got.
Listen, the best way to reach me, 702-330-5706. That is the phone number for all of my businesses. That's the best way to reach me for life insurance, mobile notary, skincare, jewelry products, and or your healing services needs. 702-330-5706. Peace. There you go.
And you can catch her here every third Thursday of the month, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and Showing Our Black Future series. And get your up on. You understand? Get your up on. So Divinity Goddess, thank you for coming through and giving us some spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Letting us get our shine on and elevate our consciousness and our spirit. Okay.
I appreciate you, Seven. Peace and blessings to you.
Peace and blessings, Goddess. We out.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. Night in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.